of most of the mantras is that I am infinite consciousness, right? But what does that mean, actually, right? When you try and meditate on infinite consciousness, how alive is that for you? Or when you think of God or whatever. And I'm sure all of you have, we all have some kind of instinct there for that. But for me, these questions have helped just make it a little bit more vivid and exciting and stimulating, And one of the questions that I often like to put on there is, what would it feel like to be omnipresent, present everywhere, permanently? Right? To be permanently in that state. Now we think of our meditation as something, okay, now we temporarily have this nice experience and we go back to being normal. But what if real and normal was that? Right? And I guess why these are important to me is that once you can get a feeling for it, it starts to become more of a real possibility. So something that seems out of reach, unreal, and some kind of, vague, distant thing isn't something that you can seriously aim at in meditation. But by asking these questions, you can get a kind of more of a feel for it. And if you ask yourself questions like, what would it feel like to be in that state permanently? You are starting to get in touch with your real self, which is that permanently, right? Your little personality, your body comes and goes and changes, but the essence of your inner being is permanent light, being, consciousness. The thing is that we just aren't in the habit of identifying ourselves with that. We are in the habit of identifying ourselves with the body and the personality. Right? So that's one way of one of the practices that I'd like to share as going beyond time, place, and person, or rather being in the part of you which is always beyond time, place, and person. Putting it on, trying it on, what does it feel like, getting comfortable in it and saying, yes, this is me, right? And the more you try it on and get comfortable with it, the less of a kind of fantastic, distant idea it becomes, and the more it becomes, okay, I could get a feeling for that. And then the next question is, so how can I stay in that state more often? Okay, I'm going to stand up here. So the next little thing I'd like to talk about is the importance of shrinking ourselves down to a point, right? So in the first lesson of meditation, we learn how to concentrate in a particular chakra. And this chakra is very important because it is the doorway into the eternal. As we go out into the world, we go out into the world of relativity, time, place, and person. Okay, so I'm engaged with objects and people and things. So as long as I'm in that, I'm in the bondage of time, place, and person. But when I withdraw to my chakra point, I'm stepping back from time, place, and person, and I'm bringing myself to a single point. And a point has no front, no back, no up, no down, no inside, no outside, no history, no identity. It's timeless. It is the only thing in the material world which is beyond time, place, and person. So we can represent the absolute or the non-dual by the means of a point. And if we can hold our concentration in a point, it is a step towards experiencing transcendence. So our Master Sri Sri Ananda Murti said that the secret of meditation is hidden in your feeling of self, right? But what is the real feeling of self? How do you get there? Okay. So when you detach from those parts of yourself, which are the external parts, then you come to the part which is the real self, right? So as we do the shuddhis, or the withdrawal, we withdraw from the body, we withdraw from the world, we pull ourselves gradually back from relativity towards a single point. And when we hit that point, beyond the body, beyond the world, that is self. Okay? Self in the sense that it's not attached to any physical time or place or person. So a year ago, or a couple of years ago now, I was in a permaculture design course training, and I observed at that time that permaculture is a worldview. It's a way of looking at the world, and it's an expanding worldview. So it's started off with a way of looking at, kind of growing food, but it's expanding, and permaculture principles can be used to look at how society is. So as this worldview expands, it also, if you're going to have a complete worldview, and I think that's what permaculture people would like, they would like to see permaculture principles applied to the whole of life, well then what about spirituality? So I thought of an idea of how the permaculture concept could jump into the world of spirituality. So I came up with this meditation called a permaculture meditation. So basically, it's the idea of cultivating permanence, right? So how can I cultivate, or how can I develop within me that which is permanent as opposed to that which is transitory? And let's make use of this point. So what I want you to do, move this a little bit, is concentrate in your own chakra. If you don't have a chakra, you can use your heart chakra. Okay? And we're going to use this point to keep us free from these three bondages, right? Time, place, and person. Now the goal of yoga ultimately is freedom. Mukti, moksha, the highest states of yoga ultimately mean freedom. Freedom from any kind of relative bondage. Absolute and permanent freedom. So those three bondages, time, place, and person. So imagine a line going through your chakra point representing time. Okay? At one end the past, at one end the future. And here this point is that part of you which is beyond time, or in this moment, always in the moment. And now imagine that line collapsing, and what remains is that part of you which is here, now, pure being beyond past and future. Okay? So just close your eyes. Focus in your chakra. Get a feeling of your chakra as being present, right? This that part of you which is here now in this moment. And whenever you find your mind wandering off into the past or the future, along that line, getting lost, getting caught up in the past or the future, just collapse that line and come back to your chakra point or your heart chakra and be in this moment. And use that point to help you stay in the moment. Whenever you notice your mind get pulled into the past or the future, use that point to come back to the present and hold yourself and enjoy what it feels like just to be now in the present. Okay, now you can open your eyes. Now imagine a vertical line going through your chakra, representing the body and the personality. Okay? So we get limited because we identify with that which is limited. When we start to think about our personality, there's things that we like about ourselves, there's things that we don't like about ourselves. When we think about our body, there's things we like about ourselves that we don't like about ourselves. We carry around, we're always limited by this concept of body and personality. But do we have to identify with it? How can we be free from that? So when you concentrate in your chakra, you can close your eyes now. Think of your chakra as that part of you which is pure spirit, unaffected by the body, beyond the personality. Your spirit is infinite, immortal, perfect, pure spirit. But we get up all upset about ourselves because we identify with our personality and with our body. But there's always a part of us which is pure, perfect spirit. And feel that centered in your chakra. And just hold that focus there in your chakra on that part of yourself which is free and pure spirit. And whenever you feel yourself starting to get limited or dragged into association with your body or with your personality, the things that you like and don't like about yourself, keep yourself free from that by holding your attention in the chakra, in that part of you which is transcendent, perfect, pure spirit. Just hold yourself there and don't let yourself get drawn into that. You can sync it with your breathing, thinking, I am, as you inhale, spirit, as you exhale. We can combine it with the question we asked earlier. What would it be like to be this permanently? What if pure spirit is my permanent identity? What would that feel like? Okay, thank you. Now, we've done time and we've done person, and let's do space. All right? So, you know, all the things which give us difficulty are around us in the universe, objects, people, situations that make us happy, that make us sad, that give us problems. All our worries and things are associated with this world, right? But I would like you to think of your chakra point as the point out of which the universe emerged. And, science says that the universe happened in a big bang. There was nothing, and then there was this, everything emerged, the whole universe emerged in some kind of explosion out of a point, right? So there is a part of you which is beyond anything in this universe, right? Pure being, the starting point. So close your eyes, focus again in your chakra, and think of that chakra as the point out of which everything is unfolding. Imagine the universe unfolding out of you. Unfolding and expanding. And just as it can unfold and expand from you, so also it can collapse back. The process can go back in reverse. The entire universe can roll up and disappear back into yourself. So keep yourself free from whatever pulls you off your center, your worries, your anxieties, fears, just by imagining the whole universe returning to its starting point, pure being, yourself. And whenever you feel yourself getting lost or getting worried about something or concerned about a situation, just imagine no universe. Everything disappears back into a point. And hold yourself in that point. Again, you can use it with your breath. As you concentrate in the point, you can think, as you inhale, I am. As you exhale, the Absolute. Okay, thank you very much. So, this is a very powerful role that the point can play in your meditation. And I've printed it out, but there's a discourse that our Guru, Sri Ananda Murti, gave. I think it was called Tanmatric Samadhi. So in this discourse he explains how basically the universe is nothing but a point with the 5 elements attached to it. And he says, if you took away the liquid factor, means the 5 elements, solid, liquid, luminous, aerial, and ethereal, if you took away the liquid factor, the whole universe would be 1,000 times smaller. If you took away the luminous and aerial factors, the universe would be 1,000 times smaller than a mustard seed, that tiny black seed. Right? And then he says, in reality, the universe is nothing but a point. And that this point, if you can hold your, if you can do this negative tanmatra, so he says basically the cosmic consciousness attached these 5 elements to this point. And if it withdrew those 5 elements, the universe would collapse back into that point. right? And if you can do that in your mind, right, so reverse that stage and come to that point, then you can attain to that state which was beyond the universe. And he says that this point is the silver lining between the relative and the absolute. It's like the doorway. Okay? So think of your chakra that you use for concentration as the doorway between the material world and the transcendental world. If you want to pass from the world of duality into non-duality, you will have to go through that point. Right? As long as you are not able to bring your mind to that point, you are stuck in the world of the relative, of time, place, and person. Right? You're engaged with that world. But when you can bring your mind to a point, so here is the world of objects and things, you're engaged with that, and that's what keeps you in time, place, and person. If you can withdraw your mind backwards and hold yourself in that point, you can keep yourself beyond time, place, and person, and that point becomes the jumping off point into the absolute. And you notice on the American $1 bill, there's this picture of a pyramid. And on the top of the pyramid, there's an eye. Like this, something like that. You seen that? Mm-hmm. Remember I used that picture when I was talking about the cosmic consciousness, right? So consciousness and the three elements of time, place, and person. So I think to me it's suggesting that, the divine eye, the cosmic view, to see the world from your big eye, your cosmic self, not your small self. You achieve that when you can bring your mind to that point, right? Okay. So some people tend in their meditation just to jump into saying the mantra. But here, if you spend a little time to do the preparation stages, right? Detach your mind, step back, step back, step back from the world. For the simple initial lesson of meditation, we ask you to imagine being alone on a mountain far above the world. Okay, so that's one kind of stepping back. In the more advanced type of meditation, you learn how to do that from your body as well. Yeah. And our master said, if you do all those preparation stages properly, you only have to repeat the mantra once, and you will enter into the state of samadhi. So, for me, that suggests that 90% of the meditation is that preparation and bringing your mind to that point. Okay, so in one discourse, he says that we all have two eyes. We have the small individual eye, and we have the universal eye, which is the same for everybody. So like the center. So if you think that we are all, our bodies and personalities are like points along the circle, and our inner self, the big eye, so these are our small eyes, right? So many small eyes, but only one big eye. And we all have our roots. So bringing our mind to a point is about this. It means coming to the transcendent big eye, the pure eye of simply being, not identified with a body or a place or a time. Okay? So there's two ways to to go about being beyond time, place, and person. One is to make yourself very, very small and step out of it by becoming that tiny point. And the other is to identify yourself with the totality, to be everything. Right? And remind of that beautiful quote by Nisargadatta, I am nothing, I am everything. Between these two states, my life. I don't know what the verb he uses is, but my life moves between these 2 points. I am everything or I am nothing. So that's what we're aiming at. We should either be the nothing in the point, or we should be the everything. But don't get stuck in between, identifying with this, right? With this small part, with the small I. Who am I? To identify with that. So to do that, it's like, okay, we jump here in order to be everywhere. Okay? So now I want to talk about the everywhere part of it, because sometimes in meditation I just focus in the point, and other times I try to step out of me and what if this, you, everywhere here is all me, right? What would it really feel like to look at the world in that way? So that as I look at my hand, it feels like it's part of me. What if I could look at you and everything here just and feel it like my hand as part of me? You can do it if you practice it a little bit, right? And of course, to sit here in this little body and personality and say this is all me is kind of ridiculous. But to be here and say that this is me, all of this is me, that must be exactly how the big I sees the world. How does the big I see the world? Your big I, your big self, your cosmic consciousness self. How does it see this world? As something external, like we see it from here in this little body? Everything is external. But if I am here, and this is your inner self, right? So from the point of view of your inner self, what does the universe look like? It's my own imagination. It's my own self. So just close your eyes for a second. Locate yourself in your cosmic eye, right? The nucleus of the universe. Nothing is outside you. Everything is your own imagination. Whatever arose in the past is you. Whatever is arising now is you. And whatever may arise in the future is you. You can say, whatever arose in the past is love. Whatever is arising now is love. Whatever is arising, may arise in the future is love. You can say, whatever arose in the past is God. Whatever arising now is God. Whatever may arise in the future is God. It doesn't matter so much. The important thing is that it's all one thing. So paint everything with one color. It's all yourself, it's all God, it's all love. Whatever was, whatever is now, whatever may be in the future. And when you do that, time, place, and person become meaningless. Time is only important when things change. If I get on the plane here and get off it somewhere else and my beard has grown or something has changed, then time and place mean something. But if it's love here and love there and love in the middle and in the past and the present and the future, when nothing changes and it's always love, it's always me, it's always God, then time, place, and person disappear. So if you can feel that oneness, whatever was is me, whatever is me, whatever will be is me. You are in a place where there is no time, no place, and no person. Okay, so you can open your eyes now. So these are the two approaches, really. The approach of going down into a point and the approach of going everywhere, painting everything. Whatever was, whatever is, whatever will be, is me, is love. It's easier with your eyes closed. It's much harder with your eyes open, but it's not impossible. So, as I said before, our mantras basically say, I am the infinite. We say that, but the moment we open our eyes, we come back to identifying with our body and personality, right? And that puts that experience far off. When we come back to our body and personality, we still have to keep practicing. Okay, so if I am the infinite, what's the world supposed to look like, right? If I am infinite, perfect, everywhere, omnipresent, then I better start seeing everything as myself. I better practice seeing everything as myself. Now, if you do this, there are people in psychiatric hospitals who were put there because they think they're Jesus Christ. Quite a lot of them. It's quite a common thing to happen. But the thing is, there's an interesting saying that the mystic and the schizophrenic find themselves in the same ocean. But the schizophrenic sinks and the mystic swims. Right? So, can you handle being God? Now, the person who says, I'm Jesus and you're my servants, that's the person who needs to go into the psychiatric hospital, all right? So here I am, I'm Jesus Christ, and everybody's just normal, stupid people. But if you think, I, you, everything is divine, there is only the divine. And Baba gives one interesting discourse where he says that everything may be I, that everything may be he, but in the end, if it's all one, the words I or he make no difference, right? I or he only have an importance when there's two. If there's only one, how are you going to, So in the end, there's only existence, not I, not he. There's just oneness. So we have to start practicing it. I mean, if that's what our mantra says, right? I am everything, then we have to get in the habit of looking and seeing the world and trying to say, okay, I'm everything, so not allow ourselves to go back to our limiting habits. And I think what you can discover when you do some of these exercises is how much our normal way of looking at the world is just like a movie on a particular channel. I don't have to watch that channel, I can watch another channel. Okay? It's just a habit. And it seems like reality because we're so used to living that way. But once we start to question and undermine and, experiment with seeing others, and we have to try it on regularly. What does that feel like? What would it feel like? What does the universe look like from God's perspective? Because I'm supposed to be God, so I better figure out how that looks, right? And start making an effort to, with your eyes open, to see the world that way. Okay. Well, I think we'll leave it there.